What's up, Internet? We are back with our boy Neku, which means, of course, it's time for some awesome loot. Jazz hands. You might have noticed this is a little bit late, and, well, yeah, it's, because of everything going on, and because everyone in this building is now telecommuting, it's really hard to record some stuff, because everyone in this building is loud but me. Anyway, this time we are doing some stuff from the end of last year up to, like, literally now, which is the end of May. And yet, it's not very much. I don't have a lot of games here this time. But let's jump right into it with the best thing ever that we have, because why spoil it for last? We have EverQuest, Sentinel's Fates, game activation code, you can have it if you like, quick start guide. This was something my mom handed to me when she was emptying out her desk drawer to start telecommuting. I don't know why we have this. As far as I know, I never played it. I know my brother never played it, but we had this. Yeah, just EverQuest 2 for some reason we just had kicking around. Don't know why, but it was a goofy thing I thought I'd show off because, you know, why not? Alright, now we're actually going to get into proper games that we have, starting with, as I hit my thing, I apologize. Ooh, this is what we're going to start with. Now, I'm tentatively going to call this episode, Diamonds in the Rough Are Unbreakable, because, first of all, this pandemic and the subsequent quarantine and lockdown, all this horrible nonsense, clearly the work of an enemy stand. But also because I actually found some rare games at decent prices, but the catch is they look like a dog ate them. We're going to start with probably what I think is the best thing we got. We have this little game right here, Nubo, or Nobu, or Nobo. I've seen 8 different ways to pronounce and spell this game's name, but it is a rare game that exists to promote a chocolate wafer mascot in Japan. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Cool Spot in the sense that even though it is a game that is ostensibly an advertisement, it's more of a game than an advertisement, so it actually plays pretty fun. It's kind of like a cross between something like, your Flashback, or your sort of Another World, sort of a cinematic platformer tied with like a PC adventure game. You have to run around collecting random objects to slowly platform around and solve problems. This game typically costs something like $50 to $100 if it's complete. I got it for $15 because the cover was completely destroyed and no one wanted to bid on this. Because I guess despite what the seller was saying this was, no one believed it. But this game is also really hugely important for me because you might recall a couple years back I got really wildly obsessed with these like 5 imports Game Boy games, and this was one of them. This was the last one we needed because we already have Ultraman, Ball, Painter Momopi, Awesome Painter Momopi, Lucal, we already had, what was it, that sports hero Iron League. This was the one we needed. There are 2 more I'd like to get, Tekkaman Blade as well as the Game Boy version of Lunar Lander, and if anyone can point me in the right direction for those, that'd be great because I really want them, but this was the last one and I'm very happy with it. Also in the middle of a review for this, so look forward to that. Our next game, likewise, hard to find and very expensive, but very important to me. We have, by Seta, Kendo Rage. Now, Kendo Rage is an interesting game because it is a game where you play as a girl running super fast through the worlds to get to Kendo school before she's late, where her boss, who has a very Japanese name, but you call him Bob for reasons, will chide you, and you have to fight very anime stuff. Now, that sounds like a very Japanese concept, and it is, but the funny thing is, the English version, I would argue, is like more Japanese than the Japanese version. Like, from what I can tell, this game sort of had like a Samurai Pizza Cats thing to it, where they tried to localize it, but they didn't have a script, so they just made something up. The Japanese version was about some sort of like ghost fighter type exorcist who fought with a bokken or something. There was actually like a small series about this. There was like a sequel on the PC Engine as well as a fighting game on the Super Famicom and I believe PS1, yet does not contain the main character of this game. Now this game is really important to me because a few years ago, back when my uncle and I both had money, we would go around like once a year to all the sort of like used game shops, and I saw a copy of this for $25, and I really wanted it, but I thought, yeah, that's a bit too much. I walked out, and then before I left, I thought, I'll go back and get it. It was gone. And I saw this on eBay for $25. Again, the label is held together with like masking tape, and it's super faded. And I was like, look, this game doesn't look very good. I knew I was going home with it no matter what, but I said, do you think you could lower it to like $15? And they said, yep. So I got this for about $15, and this is sort of like a Valis style game. I've never played any Valis games, so for me it's more like Kadash, but I want to play Valis at some point. But Kendo Rage, very interesting game, very, very different kind of game, and it's very difficult, but hopefully I'll get to review this sometime in the future. Okay, our next game will be, what do we have? Oh, okay, this is half of a birthday present. I'm still waiting on the other half, but I can't wait. This is my most wanted PS2 game of all time, sent to me by my lovely, lovely girlfriend. We have Skygunner. Now this is the Japanese version, and I'm thinking maybe I'll try and track down an English copy eventually because of how important this game is to me, but this is a Japanese version, which means I can play it on my Japanese PS2. And it is sorta kinda like Ace Combat, but with cell shading and lots more anime. And Ace Combat's already pretty anime, so you know it's gonna be good. My history with this game is actually pretty interesting because this was like the first PS2 game I ever came into contact with. Let's get some pictures of the back. Not sure if I'm going to be able to put gameplay over this because of, well, I'll explain it when we get there. Yeah, this game looks really, really cool. I was super excited to get this. My introduction to the PS2 was through two separate instances of some random person coming into my life with their PS2 because of like my family knew theirs and they needed to stay over or whatever. Us going to a video store saying, hey, we'll pick something together so we're both happy and I'll let you play my PS2. And then them proceeding to go out and pick Final Fantasy X-2 and play it entirely by themselves while I looked really, really bored. But the first time we went to a Blockbuster, which we didn't have any of those prior. Like it was like on the outskirts of town, like basically in another town altogether. And I remember seeing Skygunner on the shelves, and I remember thinking, wow, this game looks amazing, I need to play this. And again, they grabbed Final Fantasy X-2 because even though I was supposed to get a say, I never got a say at all and never got a chance to play it. The next time I saw Skygunner was on an eBay listing of that, Crimson Tears, and just a bunch of other really rare stuff, including something else I'm about to show you. But I remember sitting there and trying to bid on this because I really wanted to get into the PS2. I just sort of fell into one, for lack of a better term, and I was like, oh, I need this. Sold for about $5 more than I was willing to pay. And the sad thing is every game in that lot is ridiculously expensive now. Skygunner typically goes for like 80 bucks, maybe 100, depending on its condition, and that's really sad because this game looks so cool. But now I got a Japanese copy, which is good. Like I said, I might try and get an English copy again just for how important this game is, but that is a ridiculously kind gift from my girlfriend, and I am super, super jazzed to play it. Now, speaking of important games that were also in that eBay listing that I would like to play, and this is actually my second most wanted PS2 game, we have Graffiti Kingdom. Now, Graffiti Kingdom, if you know through any mention of my channel, it would be connected to Magic Pendule, a game my girlfriend gave me last year that I reviewed, and that was an interesting game. But for me, my intro was through a birthday gift I got many, many years ago, back when I was probably at the end of junior high or early high school. I got this game called Amazing Island on the Wii, and it was absolutely interesting. It was a game where you could design your own character, like customize them, give them all sorts of different accessories and stuff to make like your own super guy, and then take them on awesome adventures. Their words, because as far as they were concerned, awesome adventures basically means playing a bunch of completely crappy minigames that had nothing to do with anything. And I complained about that. Like, I wanted to take my character on an adventure. I wanted to hit things with my character's sword. I wanted to go collect things, fight bosses, you know, be the master of this world that I'm sort of drawing myself into. And I hated that it was just minigames. And then this guy I knew, he basically just said, you know, that game actually exists. It's called Graffiti Kingdom. And, well, I've been wanting this game for a long time, and for the longest time it sit pretty steadily at about $30. I went to check probably a few months ago, and I saw that it ballooned in price. It was like sitting at 60 to 80, and I was like, oh, if I don't get this now, I'm never gonna get this. This was a birthday present I bought myself. And like I said, I would love to show you footage with this, but the problem is my brother decided to borrow the PS2 because it is technically half his, and he decided he wanted to play all the Persona games on it, back to back to back, and now he's playing Persona 5 and he hasn't given it back, so I might have to give him a hard time about it, but very excited to play this. I've been sitting on it for about 2 months now, really want to play it, but yeah, I'm very excited about that. Unfortunately, everything else I have is basically PS2 as well, so I'm not going to be able to play this for a while, and that sucks. Okay, the next couple ones I got at my local Goodwill, and I saw them there for basically nothing. We'll start with this one. We have Tenchu Heaven. It's supposed to be a stealth game about assassinating people, and I've seen some of the Tenchu games on PS1. I've never been able to play them. I always wanted to, though. So I saw this for about like $4, and I thought, hey, we got a stealth game, we got some awesome stabby stabs, we got stealth, we apparently have multiplayer, which I don't care about, but we got stealth, stabbing, ninjas, awesome, need to play this, and I got it for basically nothing, which is good. At that same place, I also picked up another one of the Jam Pack games, Volume 15, and it was with this that I learned something kind of interesting, because there's actually multiple versions of each Jam Pack game, which kind of makes me sad a little bit. See, this is what we would call the, like, child-friendly Jam Pack. There's actually 2 versions of this. Like, it's got One Piece, which I'd like to play some One Piece games. It's got Billy and Mandy, which I'm not super familiar with. It's got Okami. I think that's Bionicles, maybe? No, that's Bionicles. That's Destroy All Humans. But it sort of lists the games here. It's like MLB, don't care. Okami's awesome. Got to review that. Go watch that. Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Need for Speed, Kim Possible. I've heard the Kim Possible game is pretty good. Destroy All Humans, I like that series. Bionicles, Lego, One Piece. Now the thing is, the adult version, I believe, doesn't have Lego in here or Bionicles. And instead has Yakuza. And I am really into Yakuza, but it's the English first version of Yakuza, which I hear is like really awkwardly translated and has a lot of extra swears and stuff. And our camera stopped. Awesome. I don't know what setting makes it stop, but it does that every 10 minutes. It's weird. Sorry. Anyway, best character of all time, Goro Majima, played by Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. And that alone makes me want to try and find an English version of original Yakuza. After that, they went with the standard Japanese dub, which, having played a lot of Yakuza 0, really, really excellent dub. But to see best character ever played by good old Mark Hamill, I need it. I need it in my life. So I might have to try and find another Jam Pack Volume 15. But that said, I've got a nice little collection of these, and I'm thinking about doing like a little series on those, like I do with my pirate games. But I'm thinking about it. Anyway, the last game we got at good old Goodwill was this. It stood out to me. I was trying to get this on Xbox Live for a while because it's digital, but we have Geo Battle Colosseum. Again, PS2 game, so I can't play it right off, so I probably won't have footage, so I apologize. But this is basically all the Neo Geo fighting games rolled into one, including extra characters from other Neo Geo properties, like our boy Marco from good old Metal Slug. So if you ever wanted to fight with Metal Slug Soldier Man guy, you can do it, and he is looking freaking ripped over there. With 40 characters, all taken from SNK's most popular franchises, including Metal Slug, King Fighters, good old Samurai Shodown, like one of the best fighting game franchises ever, World Heroes, that game's worth a laugh. I think this was also sort of the basis of like SNK versus Capcom, which is pretty interesting, and you get to see good old Marco with his Metal Slug attack down there. This looks interesting. Like, I'm awful at fighting games, I'm not very good, but it looks like a damn really pretty fighting game, and I like fighting games. I'm not good at them, can never do specials, but I've got a bit of a taste for it. Alright, what do we have next? Alright, next we have birthday presents, actually. I've got 2 birthday presents. One of these is going to completely shock you, so we'll start with that. We have Animal Crossing, New Horizons. So, fun story, I created like a list of games and stuff that I wanted that I couldn't possibly afford because I don't have a lot of money. Feel free to support the show so that I can actually do that moving forward, but this was one of the things I wanted, and my mom went out and she picked this up for me, or rather she ordered it through Amazon. But the thing was, Amazon was going to like deliver it 2 weeks late because the pandemic was just sort of starting. So I basically, this day, like this was like literally the last day before the lockdown, I went out with my brother and we tried to pick up a copy. Unfortunately, the GameStop wouldn't give you any copy unless you had a pre-order, which, this is a big release, they should have more than just the pre-orders, but apparently they didn't have a delivery or something, so I had to go to Best Buy, which was like the first place I ever saw with any sort of like social distancing measures in place and stuff. but I got Animal Crossing New Horizons. As you can see, I've been playing quite a lot of it. It's a very fun game. I love Animal Crossing. If you're new to the series, I've got a very, very long playlist you can go watch, but it's a nice little game where you get to live your life, you get to build an island. I find it rather peculiar that the game starts out as a game about living on a deserted island and then immediately stops being about that because you have to like cultivate it into like civilization. That kind of seems completely self-defeating from the start. Not a big fan of that, honestly. I kind of want to have more of a deserted island look to it, but I have to get those island rating stars or else I don't get to have awesome stuff, so that's kind of sad. But it's a great game for me because I'm someone who has to live with non-stop, like, permanent anxiety attacks, and this is just a nice, calm way for me to calm down and feel better about myself. It's kind of like its own set of therapy, really. I love Animal Crossing. I've been playing it since basically when it came out, like the original game, and the whole series is just excellent. If you like a nice little chill game, I think you should pick this one up. Now, my other birthday gift, actually I've got one more, but it's tied to this, was, likewise, my grandma needed to get me a birthday present, so my mom just decided to pick something from my list and she would get it for me. So she got me the Yakuza Remastered collection, because the Yakuza games are actually really hard to find now. I started getting really into Yakuza 0, I'm still playing it, still haven't started any of the other ones, but I've got all the others except like 3, 4, and 5, and this has all of them, including a box for 5 if you really want one of those, because Yakuza 5 never had a box in North America, but otherwise it's basically useless. But it's got this really nice cover and stuff, and you get Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5. You get to experience the awesome power of basically 3D Streets of Rage done right, which is good. I mean, there's new Streets of Rage now, so that's good, but this was basically Streets of Rage before then, tied with Shenmue, but arguably done better, and I love Shenmue. I think I said this in my Game of the Year video when I showed off Yakuza 0, but it's like, I got to like 80 hours in on the absolute like 4th chapter, a point where you should be like maybe 5 hours in, if that, and I was just having so much fun like playing darts at like a pool hall, or like singing karaoke, or just doing all this random crap you don't need to do. Slot cars, I was absolutely all about the slot cars. Like, seriously, this is great. Plus, it's one of 2 games where you actually get to play as best character ever, Goro Majima, so go play Yakuza 0 and then get the Remaster Collection. But to get this physical Remaster Collection was very, very cool. I'm very excited to play this again once I beat Yakuza 0 again, and then 1, and then 2, and then hopefully I will get onto this eventually. Seriously, the Yakuza series is, it's going to be a while before I finish, but that's very exciting. I've got another chunk of my birthday gifts, but again, that'll come later with other stuff. We got 2 more games here. These I bought both during quarantine because I needed something to play. We have The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel. This is a Falcom game by Nihon Falcom, the guys who made Ys. They basically invented the action RPG series, or series of the genre, which is kind of my favorite genre of all time. And, well, I haven't really played many of their games. I played a little bit of Ys Origin, didn't care much for that. I had Ys 7, loved the ever-living crap out of it, but it was stolen. And I've been trying to wait for like a digital PSP version to go on sale, and it never does. I know it's on Steam, but I want like a proper PSP version so I can put it on my TV. But I started playing this, and it is an absolute lot of fun. What interested me, aside from the fact that it's Nihon Falcom, is I was watching this one video. I can't remember who made it or anything, but I think it was Mother's Basement. He did a video talking about how this series has like just like the best world building ever, and how like even the most pointless NPCs never have anything more than like an entire giant wide story and name and like backstory and like connections to people. It's like, wow, that's amazing. And playing this, that's absolutely the case. Combat wise is very, 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 very fun. Reminds me a little bit of Shadow Hearts, which is a very good thing. A lot of attacks have sort of a area of effect, and you'll spend like 10 minutes on one attack just trying to like find the one magic pixel between all these different enemies that'll let you hit them all. I'm crazy about that sort of stuff. But this particular version, as I really hate that Shadow, comes with a really, really nice steelbook, and unlike the PS3 steelbooks I have, which are all sized wrong, which thanks people who made PS3 steelbooks. You sized them all wrong and they're terrible to fit in a shelf. It comes with a really, really beautiful steelbook. It comes with a soundtrack that is absolutely banging, but is unfortunately a partial soundtrack. I hate that. If you're gonna make a soundtrack, give me the whole thing. Because producing discs costs nothing, and you really could fit the entire soundtrack on there, so why not? But we do get a replica silver coin, which is quite cool. It's all in this box that I haven't bothered to open again because I've just been too busy playing it. Unfortunately, I'm now juggling like 6 RPGs at once, so it might be a while before I finish it, but I'm having an absolute blast. Which leads us nicely into Trails of Cold Steel 2. Yeah, it's a sequel. I haven't played this one, so I can't talk much about it, but I saw these both on sale and I said, screw it, I'm buying them both. Part of the reason was I really, going back to E7 for a minute, I really wanted to play the PSP Trails game, Trails in the Sky, but never had a chance. And likewise, there is no digital sales on it. That's a little bit better, I think, for the Shadow, I hope. But this is basically a sequel. It comes with a deck of tarot cards, which is kind of cool. Another very, very nice steelbook. It comes with a soundtrack CD. Again, I'm sure it's a partial because it says selection as opposed to full. Again, just give me the full soundtrack. Producing audio CDs costs nothing nowadays. As well as a replica pin. And I don't know how that ties into anything in the actual game, but I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, my memory card is out of space. I gotta fix the Shadow. I'll be back in a few seconds, but I hope you enjoy. Alright, and we're back with a fresh memory card. Okay, so now we got a bit of a story. This goes all the way back to pretty much the first of the year. See, my good friends, knower of things and best made, Caleb, decided to get me a Christmas present. Very, very thoughtful of him. He got me 2 PS4 games. For the record, it was God of War and Bloodborne. Unfortunately, I already had them. One at his recommendation too, which was interesting. But he, being the intelligent person that he is, he decided that's probably the case, I'm gonna get a gift receipt. So I got a gift receipt, I turned him in at GameStop, and I decided, you know, this is gonna be towards Luigi's Mansion because it was one of 2 Switch games I really wanted from last year, I never got. Still don't have it. Because while that was my plan, plans kind of change. So fast forward a little while, I'm at GameStop with my uncle, there to pick up something that I saw there. We'll show that off later. But, you know, I was paying for what I had, and he was on the other side of the counter because it was like an island sitting in the middle of the store, very odd design, and he was showing off this like weird box thing. So I went over to the other side of the counter, I went to look at what this box thing is, and there was a Gundam inside it. And the lady behind the counter said, yeah, that Gundam was built by someone here who works here. He said, first person to buy a brand new one of those boxes gets that Gundam along with that display box free. I said, okay, we're doing this. So I spent half of that on this. We have a glow box, an illuminating and rotating display base kit. This is pretty cool. It's something I haven't taken out of the box yet, but it's something I really wanted for Gundam models, specifically a Gundam model I want to build moving forward. But it rotates, it puts different lights up from below, and it came with an idea from a previous Gundam I built. I think I showed it off, but if not, I brought it. I have this really ultra sexy, clear Star Build Strike. And I apologize if it's dusty. I live in a basement, so once I finish dusting, it's already dusty again. But I thought, you know, this really, really clear rainbow colored strike, it would be cool if I could get some sort of light system into it and turn it into a lamp. Now this is not going to do that, this is for something else entirely, but from that idea my uncle decided to try and build one of these, and he failed, and I kind of need one of these anyway, and it wasn't too bad, so I figured, alright, let's go. So we're just going to put my Star Build Strike over there. Speaking of, let's talk about the Gundam that came with it, because gadoosh, we have an Exia repair too. Now, the thing is, I'm not the biggest Exia fan ever. I've ranted countless times about how much I don't care for Setsuna Fsei, and why he's probably the worst main character of all of 00. But out of all of his suits, I do quite like this. I mean, comparatively anyway. Well, that and the Quanta with cat ears. I've got one of those too. But I bought this mainly because, well, first of all, it's free, but I really wanted this weapon. Because I need that for my custom Gunpla that I'm going to use this with. And the thing is, I actually already have one of these, because I needed that one already. I needed 2. And while we're here, don't highlight black with purple ever. Because, well, I think that my My ultra-violent, as I call it, Exia is very, very cool. It's really hard to see anything about it. Like, let's just zoom in right there. Like, what can you tell about that? I'm really sad about how this turned out because it was such a cool idea. But, yeah, so we've got 2 Exias now. I'm going to take that Exia sword because that's really what I wanted. And, yeah. But while I was there to actually buy something else, right? So we got 2 of these. I'm going to take one of these out of the box while we do this. But, wha-boom, we got this really, really, really small Gundam Mark II Titans version. And I got this because I thought it looked really cool, but also while I bought this, my girlfriend and I were actually going through Zeta Gundam, and it has since become one of her favorite animes, and to be honest, it's one of the best Gundams. It has trouble standing up. It's not a great kit, mind you. But here's the other one I bought, because they had 2. We have an Assault Kingdom, Zeta Gundam. Let's see what's inside. Because I want to... It's not a big build or anything. It's just a kit. But one of these is going to my girlfriend, whichever one she wants. But I bought these both because I thought they looked really cool. Not as cool as I thought, honestly, but they are kind of neat. So, yeah, let's just take this out and see. So you got like a little Zeta. Detail's not bad. You can take off the little hands, you can pose them. Got his Wave Rider backpack, shield, and rifle, as well as a base for the Lotos from Unicorn, I believe. I think this guy came with some Loto parts as well. But yeah, so we got a Zeta Gundam. I'm not going to build it right now, but I did take it out of the box because that's a little bit more effort than I thought it would be. But yeah, they were a little pricey for what they were, but I thought they were really cool, and well, it did get me my second Exia sword. Not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the Exia. I might try and paint it up or something. Anyway, on the way home from that very trip, my uncle took me to a model place. And I had been to this model place before. This model place was actually pretty interesting because they had a lot of stuff, but no Gundam stuff. I remember last time I went there, they had 2 kits, and they were wildly overpriced. Like, we're talking kits from the 80s for over hundreds of dollars for no reason. So I wasn't really expecting much. I went down to where they normally kept the Gundam, and they had like 3 giant aisles filled with just Gundam at actually really good prices. And I had a little bit of money from doing some work with him, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and pick something out. Unfortunately, the Gundams were a little bit pricey, but I did set up and get myself an LBX. I'm not super familiar with LBX. I keep getting told I need to play the 3DS game if I can ever find a copy. Again, if someone has a copy they don't want, you know, let me have it. But I was told it was a lot like Gacha Force, so I was immediately interested in this, and I didn't realize it was actually a model kit, but they're model kits and they were really, really cheap, so I grabbed one. We have the, as I knock something down, the LBX Pandora, which looks kind of like a ninja hero type of guy. I like this design. I'm not sure what I'm going to do entirely with it. I initially had some ideas with some of the creases between like the legs, like right there and stuff, like those purple bits. Unfortunately, those are not layered plastic. Those are like built in. So my ideas are kind of shot, but I'm thinking about some different like paint jobs and stuff. Ah, there's Exia, and he landed on his head. Well done. There are worse Exia kits to land on their head, though. That one didn't deserve it. Like Exia or not. Mostly not. Okay, so we got that. I've got a couple other things to go here before we get to the final segment. This goes back to more Christmas stuff. Presents I got for my girlfriend. I went into GameStop, and I saw that they had like this shelf of like, wow, Exia, you are just right on. It was a shelf of stuff that was like $1. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll take a look if I see anything I want there, like used games or whatever. And I did actually see something I wanted. And this is such a small piece of tat, but it's so super unbelievably important to me. And you might laugh, but that's okay. See, when my girlfriend came here last year, we went to this awesome comic book shop called Comic Kazi, and we found these, well, we found some Gundam stuff and a lot of other cool stuff, like right behind the counter, because there was like the secret area behind the counter that you could go to. It was a really cool shop. But she also found this little Kirby, like, stress toy thing that actually was strawberry scented. And she loved it, and there was one in the set I really wanted, but they didn't have any. And we kind of talked about going back there to look, and we just never did before she had to leave. And I decided to look up on eBay, you know, what is this one worth? Because, you know, if it's cheap, I'll grab one. It's like $80 for this one specific one. So when I went to GameStop and I saw one sitting there for like probably $5, which is still way too much, I decided to grab it. Not gonna take it out of the plastic because I think I'm gonna do like a game review on it or something. But we have like a little Kirby snoozy cap because I am a frequently very exhausted person working about 22 hours a day. But she thought Snoozy Cap Kirby was totally me in Kirby form, and I would probably agree. What really annoys me, sorry Exia, is Snoozy Cap Kirby supposed to come with a blue Snoozy Cap, whereas Snoozy Cap Kirby figure comes with a purple one. So that's a little lame, but you know, what can you do? Anyway, while I was there, I saw some things in the $1 section that I absolutely needed to go and get, because this thing would totally appeal to her because she is a Final Fantasy VII fan. We have a little plush Cloud Strife with a Buster Sword. My taste in Final Fantasy characters is very different, but I thought this was cool and it would be something really, really good for her. And as I knock everything off the table because I'm just that chaotic, we'll go to the other thing I found, which is going to be for her daughter, which is a little book, because she's a very young kid. We have the ABCs of RPGs, so that she can learn how to ABC while she learns how to roleplay. Because she's a very young kid who needs to learn ABCs at some point, might as well make it fun, and it was cheap, and I thought it looked cool. Anyway, that will be it for this segment, but it does lead nicely into the next one, books. So hold on there, I gotta clean this off, because clearly I'm just a giant wrecking ball. Okay, now that we've got this giant catastrophe of mine cleaned off, apologies, we're gonna do books. Well, mostly books anyway. I got a box literally today from my girlfriend with an awesome amount of care package stuff, including a really cool Hiro Aka sweater that I've been rocking, and a shirt of Pashin eating ramen. But it also included this little shirt, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know how well this is gonna show up, but we got a Link t-shirt, and the tag inside says it's Majora's Mask, but based on the art used, I'm thinking this is probably 4 swords. But we have Toon Link kicking ass, taking names, and I like Link, so that's good. I'm not going to fold that because I'm terrible at folding. Also included badass Mario socks because, you know, I've already got the Overwatch socks, might as well have the Mario ones. Actually, I'm wearing the Overwatch ones right now, that's kind of cool. But yes, I'm clothed for a while, thanks to my girlfriend. But this actually leads to the proper books, and I feel like I need to back up for this because this is kind of massive. How do I want to present this? Okay, this is going to be awkward, but we're going to do it like, actually this looks better. Boonk. We have The Legend of Zelda Manga box set. Hell yeah, I love manga. For those of you still reading in high school or whatever, when I had to do that for reading class, which was an actual thing, I read manga instead. But we got all the classics, including Ocarina of Time 2, Majora's Mask, which, surprising that got its own book. That would be like an anthology piece, part of a bigger one. Both Oracle games in book form. Clearly gonna read Ages first because, let's be honest, it was the best one. 2 parts to 4 Swords. That's a little confusing as to why that needs 2 parts, but sure. Link to the Past, which I'm mostly just confused as to why this is 1 part. Link to the Past was a huge game. Even Nintendo Power had like this huge Zelda Link to the Past comic that had very little to do with the game, but I remember it being awesome. I need to start collecting Nintendo Power. Minish Cap, a game I played very briefly but found it to be really fun. Gotta find a copy of that. And Phantom Hourglass. I have nothing to say about it. I never played any of the DS ones. They were all stylus controlled and I found that to be annoying. So yeah, I'm a little confused as to why there's no Link's Awakening book, because that was also a very good one. And again, why A Link to the Past is 1 book. But that said, about 10 or 15 years ago, I saw Ocarina mangas for sale, and I really wanted them, but I couldn't afford them. But I think these are the same ones, and she sent them to me, and it's like, oh, this is just, this is beyond words. This is a very special, cool box set thing. It also includes a collectible poster, which, let's just see if we can, yeah, that collectible poster right down there, which is just the cover of one of the Ocarina books, but still. I need a bigger table and a better room to do this in, but alas, it's what I have, so unfortunately, that's what we're gonna have to deal with. But very cool. Let's hopefully make some room here. Okay, next we're going back to my birthday, because this was the part of the birthday gift for my grandma I had to get back to, but this is a big deal to me. We have another very large book. We have The Art of Mana, which is an art book on the entire Mana series, which is very, very super important to me. Secret of Mana is my favorite game of all time, so to have an art book based on that series, love it. I'm actually thinking about doing a review of this, actually, but that's very cool. Still have not had a chance to play the new version of Trials, a game that has existed for a very long time in English, even though Square Enix doesn't want to acknowledge that, and it sucks because it was the first fan-translated project ever. But the Mana series, very, very cool art book, very excited to do this. Alright, we got 2 more books and then we're done, and these I actually both got today for free. Not sure how much I care for them, but still. We have the Prima, I think this is Prima, no, it's piggyback.com Assassin's Creed 3 guidebook thingy. I'm not big on Assassin's Creed 3. If you can tell from my Assassin's Creed videos, I love Assassin's Creed, don't care for 3 so much, but I do somehow have a remastered version of this. I think it's because I bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they just gave it to me, so there is that. We also have the Prima official game guide to South Park, The Stick of Truth. Now the thing is, I don't like South Park at all. I was actually harassed endlessly growing up because of a couple of dumb jokes from South Park. It would not be a stretch to say that South Park partially ruined my life, so I don't actually have any interest in this, but it was free. And maybe someday I'll play the RPG if I ever get, you know, hit in the head by a meteor or something out of whatever reason. It was free, so why not? Anyway, that is it for our awesome stuff today. Really excited about that Zelda book as well as The Art of Mana. Best thing, that's tough. It's either gotta be, again, the Zelda book, the Mana book, Nubo, or I'm thinking Skygunner. Maybe Graffiti King. It's all good. Let's just admit this is all good stuff. Again, I apologize that this has been a little bit weirdly formatted. It's been rushed. Like I said, I'm doing this in quarantine while surrounded by people who are very loud and are up at all hours, so I don't have a lot of time to record this. But I hope it at least shows at least a certain degree of my passion is still here and that I really wanted to do this. It's just been hard for me, but I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, subscribe to the show to see more, because we're going to try and do this every quarter, hopefully, again, barring any other issues. You might want to see my Twitch channel, because I stream every day, mostly Animal Crossing, but some other stuff. And if you really want to help support the show and see more of these, you know, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon and support it so that I can get a proper budget and go serious game hunting. But that would be very, very fun as well. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace out, Internet.